was on some networking this morning where a lady there had was feeling overwhelmed, comparing herself to others. So the group had gone round and was discussing around what their successes had been, what they'd achieved that week, and she felt as though she hadn't achieved anything. So she was comparing. Now, and I've been in situations like this comparing side, and how we go down that slippery slope of inner talk and talking to ourselves internally, and that will drive a behaviour and a mindset in how we talk internally to ourselves. So for anybody who's read a book that's called The Chimp Paradox, we have the chimp, we have the human, and we have the computer. And the chimp is the emotional side for us. The computer, the human is logic, and then the computer is the main storage on anything that we do, or how we've been brought up, our principles, our rules, our laws, and things like that. The chimp, built on emotion, is 5 times stronger than the human, and the computer is 4 times stronger than the chimp. And everything that we input, everything that comes through to us, how we look at things, goes through the chimp first, emotions. And it is, as Muriel was saying on the networking, the chimp there is to protect us. It goes back to, you know, when we were living in caves and, you know, hunting with spears and that side. It was that fight, flight or freeze, and that is still inbuilt into us. And Muriel was saying this morning around how it doesn't fit for really the modern world in some aspects, around that fight, flight or freeze. So we've got to change that emotion. So everything that we're bringing in, everything that we're thinking, the way we're talking about talking to ourselves, we have to change. So we've got this emotion. So if this chimp's cracking off saying I'm feeling overwhelmed, why are they doing that, why aren't I a success, why can't I do that, that's the chimp talking. And we've got to change that mental model, and in changing that mental model, it'll help us in making those decisions, in moving and shifting our mindset through. Now it's not easy at all. I have my chimp, and I've named it, and I know that Sarah, another one that's Sarah Brommer Grenville, that has read the Chimp Paradox, uses the chimp as well and named her chimp Gilbert. You know, I've named mine Gilbert. My daughter's is Percy. And when my Gilbert comes into my head, I start talking to it. To call it Gilbert, start talking to it, start telling it to either piss off, get out of my head, you're not needed, don't need this right now, I need to concentrate on this, I need to get this, this is what I need, this is what I'm looking at, this is the action I need to deliver, you don't need to be involved with it. So I start talking to it and try and shift my mental model. I try and shift my thought process. Not always easy, because depending on how stressed I am. Other aspects for me was what I do is I actually down tools for a bit. Actually down tools, go away, do something creative. I might either do something creative, or I'll actually go and do some exercise. I'll actually go and do my weights to pull in some more adrenaline, do the punch bag again for adrenaline factor, and it takes my mind away from what I was on. That way I can come back and crack on with what I need to do. Gratitude is another way, you know, particularly with understanding, or when we get into this comparative side, is you know, the lady in particular this morning does a lot of work with charity. She felt that she hadn't achieved anything because all she'd done is networking, and now in networking she's putting the brand out for the charities, her own business, she's putting herself out there. You know, that's a massive achievement. But again, there's achievements and gratitudes in around getting up every morning, starting work every morning, doing the little things around of sorting something out with a charity, you know, sending an email out for sponsorship, or, you know, anything that is achieving something and moving forward, from a business perspective, from a charity perspective, whatever you're doing is moving forward, and we need to be thankful for it. So there's a load of things that we can do and be thankful for, and that then starts changing our inner talk and our inner self, and our mental models. I use a particular thing called anchoring if I start getting into too much, where I just sort of like just sort of almost to a point of meditation. It's just taking 10 minutes out and anchoring where I am, what I've done, what I've achieved. Can be silly little things like, you know, if I'm in a really bad position, it's just sort of like saying, well, I've been here before, but nothing happened as last time. You know, the lamp's still green, the curtains are still red, the carpet's still brown, I'm still me. And I just anchor different things in trying to help me change my thought process and my thought pattern. What will work for one will not work for another, and it's around finding out what will work for you. There's a number of different exercises. Sphere of influence is one that can help with people. Even talking to somebody, talking to a group of people. Everybody rallied around in the networking this morning and gave loads of positive talk and exercises and things to go through. But as Harry said in the networking, what works for one won't work for another. So you've got to find what works for you. And when it arises, when you get the thoughts, when you get overwhelmed, when you get that negative feeling, try different things to shift your mindset, to shift that chimp and bring the human into play, which is logic. And once the human's in play, logic will prevail and you can move on. Be aware, try and find out what your triggers are, because the more you can be aware and know what your triggers are, the quicker you'll be able to change your mental model and change your thought processes. So yes, it's just a little bit about, you know, there are people out there, talk to people, don't bottle it in. Try not to compare yourself, because you're individual. What somebody else is doing, they've got their own troubles elsewhere. You could be excelling at elsewhere and they're not. So, you know, because you're uncomfortable with one aspect of your business or one aspect of something, or you're hearing a load of achieving, doesn't mean to say you're not achieving. That's just one stage in a process, one day, 1 hour, 1 minute, whatever it is, in a particular time period. You'll be high as on a high the next day, next hour, you know, next 10 minutes. So it's just around this mental model, this mental shift, and getting over those thoughts. And there are a number of different exercises, as I say, spheres of influence, you know, and anchoring, gratitude, you know, talking with people. There's loads, changing your mental model. Just find one that's comfortable for you and fits for you, and just use it when you start becoming aware of the triggers.